Hello, bedtime thinkers, and welcome to the Bedtime Discoveries. I'm so glad you're here tonight, ready to drift gently into a world of calm thoughts and endless wonder. Settle down, rest your head, and let your breathing slow. Together, we're about to take a soft journey into infinity, a journey with no end. Infinity, it is a word that feels both mysterious and soothing. It means something that never stops, something without a limit, without a final boundary. Tonight, we'll wander softly through numbers, time, and space, and let the endless nature of infinity carry our thoughts, like waves rolling on forever. Before we begin, I'd love to know where you are listening from. Could you write in the comments your city and the time where you are right now? It's always beautiful to see how people all across the world are connected here together. And while you're here, if this journey feels calming, I gently invite you to like this video and subscribe to the Bedtime Discoveries. That way, you'll always have a soft place to return to whenever you need peace, rest, or a curious thought to carry you to sleep. Tonight, as you rest, we are beginning our slow and gentle journey into infinity. Not the infinity of heavy mathematics, not the infinity of complicated equations, but infinity as a soft idea, a comforting companion, something that stretches our minds and eases our hearts. Close your eyes if you like. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a quiet shore. The ocean before you is vast, waves rolling gently under the moonlight. You cannot see the far edge of the water. It stretches beyond your sight, beyond the horizon. That, my friend, is a small glimpse of infinity. Infinity is not something you can hold in your hand. It is not something you can measure with a ruler or weigh on a scale. It is not even something that ends with a clear definition. It is instead an idea, a feeling, something the mind can wander into without ever reaching a boundary. Think of walking down a long forest path. The trees stand tall on both sides, swaying softly. You keep walking, step after step, and the path stretches further and further. No matter how long you walk, the road seems to renew itself. The end never comes into view. This endlessness, this gentle always more ahead, is infinity. For children, the first brush with infinity often comes through numbers. When we first learn to count, we feel proud to reach 10, and then 20, and then 100. But soon a question arises. Does the counting ever stop? And with a smile we are told, no, it does not. There is always another number waiting, always another step to climb. The staircase has no final step. It is endless. Infinity is like that staircase. It is like a sky where no walls exist, like a story that never runs out of words. It is something both mysterious and strangely calming. When philosophers first began to dream about infinity, they did not see it as a frightening thing. Instead, they saw it as a doorway to a larger way of thinking. A reminder that the universe is not confined by the limits of human imagination. Infinity is gentle because it tells us, you don't need to finish everything. You don't need to understand it all at once. There's always more space, always more time, always more mystery. Like breathing, like drifting clouds, like stars continuing their shine. Infinity simply flows. Let's pause here and picture this idea together. A candle flame glowing softly in the dark. Its light touches the walls, then the ceiling, and though the flame is small, the waves of light travel outward, farther still. We cannot say where the light truly stops. It travels into infinity. In this way, infinity is not always something enormous and overwhelming. Sometimes it is quiet soft and tender, like a lullaby that repeats and repeats until you drift asleep. Imagine a circle. You can trace your finger around it again and again. It has no starting point and no ending point. Wherever you begin, you can continue forever. This is infinity, hidden inside simplicity. Even in language, we have ways of hinting at infinity. Phrases like forever and ever or without end. They are not meant to frighten, but to soothe, to let us know that some things continue beyond our small moment. And here's something wonderful. Infinity is not only out there in the universe, it is inside of us, too. Inside our thoughts, our dreams, our imaginations. When you close your eyes and imagine a new world, you can keep building it forever, adding mountains, rivers, skies. Your imagination never runs out of room. That, too, is infinity. So tonight, in this first gentle step of our journey, let's hold on to this simple thought. Infinity is not a storm. It is not chaos. It is a soft horizon that always continues. A reminder that the story is never truly over. As you rest here tonight, let's go deeper into the gentle idea of infinity. Think of the first time you gaze at the night sky. You might remember a feeling of wonder, maybe even of being small. The stars twinkled above you, countless and unending. And in that quiet moment, a question may have whispered in your heart. Does it ever stop? Where does it all end? This is a soft touch of infinity. Infinity is not just a number. It is a doorway for the imagination. When ancient thinkers first looked to the heavens, they didn't have telescopes or mathematics as we know them now. But they had their eyes, their minds, and their wonder. They saw stars upon stars and thought, surely this must go on without end. Infinity, for them, was not cold or distant. It was awe. It was the comfort of knowing that there is always more beyond what we can see. Imagine yourself on a quiet hillside. You are lying back on the grass, looking upward. The sky is wide, filled with stars. No matter where your eyes travel, there are more pinpricks of light. And if you could rise higher into the air, into space, you would only discover more. This endless expansion, this unending field of stars, is another glimpse of infinity. But infinity is not only about the vastness outside us. It is also about the endlessness within. Think of music. A song can end, yes, but the idea of creating music never ends. There will always be another melody, another note, another rhythm. Human creativity itself feels infinite because each person carries endless possibilities of thought, of art, of expression. Infinity whispers to us in quiet ways, the way waves roll upon the shore. You may count them one by one, but no matter how long you sit, the ocean will continue sending more. Wave after wave, each one unique, yet endless in their arrival. The sea does not stop. It does not tire. It flows into infinity. Now, let's try a thought experiment. Something soothing, almost like a bedtime story. Picture a library. It is vast, filled with books of every size and color. You walk through the halls, past shelves that stretch higher and higher. And just when you think you've reached the final room, you find another and another and another, each room filled with books waiting to be read. This library is endless, and inside each book there are pages, and within each page, words, and within words, letters. Each layer can unfold forever. That endless library is like infinity, a space of limitless imagination. Infinity, then, is not always something to solve. It is something to feel. It is a soft hum in the background of existence. a reminder that we are surrounded by more than we can ever fully grasp. And yet, this should not make us anxious. Instead, it can be deeply calming, because infinity means there is always room, always another chance, always another beginning. Even when one story ends, another can unfold. Even when one day closes, tomorrow will always arrive. Infinity teaches patience. Think of a river flowing. It does not rush to reach an end. It simply moves endlessly, finding new paths, new turns, new ways to continue. In this sense, infinity is like time itself. It encourages us not to hurry, not to worry about the ending, but to trust that the flow continues. Let's return for a moment to something small. Look at a circle, drawn on paper. It has no starting point and no finishing point. Trace it once, twice, 100 times, and it never breaks. This tiny drawing, this simple shape, carries the essence of infinity. Even in human life, we see gentle signs of infinity. Generations come and go. Parents become grandparents. Children grow and carry life forward. And though individuals pass, the flow of life does not stop. It continues endlessly, a living infinity. And in dreams, dreams hold infinity in their own quiet way. You may dream of a staircase, rising higher and higher, never reaching the top, or of waves that keep coming, or paths that keep stretching. Dreams remind us that the mind can wander into infinity effortlessly. So, as you rest tonight, let infinity be not a puzzle, but a gentle companion, a reminder that the world, and even your thoughts, have no strict boundary. They are free to wander, to stretch, to continue without end. And perhaps that is the most tender idea of all, that even in stillness, even in silence, infinity flows around us. Every breath, every heartbeat, part of a rhythm that goes on, without rushing, without closing. As we come to the final stretch of this gentle keynote, let's wander even further into the endless idea of infinity, not to solve it, not to capture it, but to let it wash over us softly, like waves that never cease. Infinity is not only a thought, it is a feeling. It is the same feeling you might have when you stand at the edge of a desert. The sand stretches before you, golden and unbroken. Every dune gives way to another and another, no end in sight, only a horizon that keeps drifting farther. Walking in such a place, you realize infinity is not about reaching. It is about accepting that there is always more beyond, more ahead. Let's imagine a different picture. A child sits with a sheet of paper. On it, they draw a simple spiral, a curve winding outward, round and round. The pencil keeps moving, the spiral keeps growing, and the child would go on forever, circling outward, never stopping. That spiral, even though drawn by a small hand, carries within it the whisper of infinity. Infinity is everywhere in our world, in the skies, in the oceans, in the small cracks of nature. Look at the veins of a leaf. Each branch divides into smaller branches, and those divide further and further still. The pattern could go on endlessly, too small for the eye to see, but it continues, reminding us that infinity hides even in the fragile surface of a leaf. Infinity is also in sound. Think of an echo. You shout into a canyon, and the sound bounces back again and again. The echoes grow softer, but they do not end instantly. The sound travels, finding new paths, fading gently into distance, as if whispering infinity in the language of sound. In human thought, infinity gives birth to stories and dreams. For instance, Many cultures tell tales of eternal journeys, of rivers that never dry, of roads that never end, of lives that circle and return. These stories are not just entertainment. They are reflections of the infinite longing inside us, the wish to know, the wish to continue, the wish to be part of something unending. And so, infinity is not just a mathematical idea. It is emotional. It touches the way we see love, memory, and hope. A parent might say, "I love you forever." A friend might whisper, "We'll always be connected." These are promises of infinity, spoken through human hearts. Infinity can also be a comfort in difficult times. When we lose someone, the thought of infinity tells us their presence continues in memories, in the lives they touched, in the gentle ripple they left behind. Nothing truly ends. It only flows into another form. Infinity reminds us that endings are not final. They are simply changes within an endless journey. Now, let's step into imagination once more. Picture yourself walking into a hall of mirrors. Each mirror reflects another, stretching into endless reflections. Where does it stop? It does not. Your single image repeats into infinity. This is not frightening, but soothing, because it shows us that infinity is built into the very way light and reflection work. Infinity also appears in the sky above us in a more subtle way. When you look at the Milky Way, you are not just seeing stars. You are seeing history itself, light that has traveled millions of years. And still, more light continues, endlessly flowing through space. The sky at night is not only beautiful, it is a canvas of infinity. And here is something gentle to hold in your mind. Infinity does not rush. It does not arrive suddenly or overwhelm you. It is patient, endless, steady, like a river that never runs dry, like a heartbeat that keeps its rhythm. Infinity is simply there, humming quietly beneath existence. Even mathematics, with all its symbols and equations, tries to capture infinity, but even there it cannot be contained. We use the symbol infinity, a sideways figure eight. It loops endlessly, never breaking. The symbol itself is small, but the meaning it carries is limitless. That tiny sign is like a doorway, opening our minds to a thought that can never be closed. So tonight, as we rest with this idea, let's see infinity not as a puzzle, not as something to fear, but as a gentle horizon. A horizon that always invites us forward, not to reach its end, but to enjoy the endlessness itself. Infinity is in the laughter that echoes in memory, in the songs that pass from generation to generation, in the stars that shine long after we are gone. Infinity is both within us and beyond us. And perhaps that is its most beautiful gift. It reminds us that we are part of something larger, a story with no final page, a journey with no end. Numbers, they may seem simple at first, 1, 2, 3, but hidden inside them is one of the gentlest gateways to infinity. When we are children, we learn to count on our fingers, one finger, then another. Soon we reach 10, and perhaps we feel proud. But then someone tells us that after 10 comes 11, 12, and more. And when we reach 100, they smile and whisper, "There is no end. You can always keep counting." This is perhaps the first moment in our young minds when we taste infinity. Numbers stretch forever. No matter how high you climb, there is always another step. No matter how far you walk, there is always another mile. Numbers do not stop at a final wall. They continue endlessly, like stars filling the sky. Imagine yourself on a staircase. Each step is a number. You take one step, then another, And no matter how many you climb, the staircase continues upward into the mist. There is no final step, no highest floor, only infinity, stretching beyond sight. This is what mathematicians call the infinity of counting numbers, sometimes called the natural numbers, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Each one seems solid, familiar, almost ordinary, but together they form something extraordinary, an endless sequence that has no finish. Now, let's play with this idea in a softer way. Imagine you are sitting with a notebook. You begin writing numbers, one after the other. 1, 2, 3, 4. The page fills, then another and another. Even if you spent your whole life writing, you would never reach the last number, because there isn't one. Infinity makes sure the story never ends. Infinity in numbers is a comfort in its own way, because it shows us that there is always more to discover, more to learn, more to explore. Numbers invite us forward without limit. Think about time. We mark it with numbers too. Seconds, minutes, hours, years. And still, there is no final year, no last second. Numbers allow us to measure, but they also whisper gently. There is no final count. Now, here's a little thought experiment. Close your eyes and picture yourself walking through a quiet forest. Each step you take, you whisper a number. 1, 2, 3. Your steps are steady, the forest calm. And even as you go on deeper and deeper, you realize there will always be another number waiting for you. Like a trail that never ends, numbers walk with you forever. Mathematicians have a name for this kind of infinity. They call it countable infinity. It is the infinity that comes from lining numbers up in a row, one after the other, without ever stopping. It is infinity you can touch in a way. Infinity you can list step by step. But even though it feels simple, it is still endless. And that is the gentle beauty of numbers. They seem ordinary, but together they carry infinity within them. So tonight, as we sit with the idea of infinity in numbers, let's see it not as overwhelming, but as soothing, a reminder that there is always more numbers to count, more moments to live, more steps to take. The numbers never stop, and neither does the quiet wonder of infinity. Numbers, they are quiet companions. We use them every day, often without thinking. We check the time, we count our steps, we measure distance. But hidden beneath these everyday uses, numbers hold a secret. They never run out. Even if you try to trap them, you couldn't. Imagine writing the largest number you can think of. Maybe it has 1,000 digits, maybe 1,000,000, but once you finish, infinity whispers softly. You can always add one more. This is a gentle trick of infinity in numbers. No matter what number you choose, no matter how enormous it feels, there's always another beyond it, and another still. Let's pause and picture your journey. You are walking along a wide meadow filled with flowers. Each step you take, you whisper a number. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your voice carries softly into the air, and the numbers float away like dandelion seeds. You keep walking, but the meadow has no end. The numbers keep rising, and there is always more space to walk, more flowers to pass, more steps to take. That is what numbers are like, a meadow that never ends. In mathematics, this endless sequence is sometimes represented by the symbol of infinity itself. Infinity. But the truth is, infinity isn't a number you can reach at the end of counting. Infinity is not the biggest number. It is the idea that there is no biggest number. The journey continues without limit. Even young children discover this in their own playful way. One child says, I have 100 marbles. Another replies, I have 1,000. And then comes the triumphant, I have 1,000,000. But the game never ends, because someone will always think of 1,000,000,000, 1,000,000,000,000, or simply say, I have infinity. It's a word that carries the thrill of something unending, even in a child's laughter. There's also something deeply soothing in this realization. Numbers show us that there is no boundary to discovery. Think of explorers setting out across the sea. Every time they thought they had found the final island, another appeared beyond the horizon. Infinity in numbers is like that horizon. You never truly reach it, because there is always something more beyond. Now, let's move gently into another image. Picture yourself climbing a mountain staircase. At first, you see a few steps. Then, as you climb higher, the staircase reveals more. The air grows cooler, the view widens, but the staircase itself, it never ends. It continues upward, curling into the clouds, vanishing into a place your eyes cannot follow. That is what counting feels like. Always more steps, always more numbers, always an invitation to go further. Infinity in numbers is also woven into our daily lives in ways we may not notice. Think about decimals. When you divide 1 by 3, you get 0.333, and the 3's go on forever. No matter how long you write, the number never comes to an end. This is another gentle form of infinity, hidden inside numbers. Even the smallest calculation carries within it an endless stream. Mathematicians often marvel at this. They see numbers not only as tools, but as mysteries, because within them lies a promise that no matter how far the mind travels, there will always be more waiting. Numbers stretch beyond imagination. They are like stars, uncountable, always shining in the background reality. And just like stars, numbers can bring comfort, because they remind us that life itself is not confined. There is always another step, another chance, another beginning. So, as we think of infinity in numbers tonight, let us rest in this thought, that infinity is not something distant or unreachable. It is here in every count, in every sequence, in every whisper of one more. Numbers carry infinity quietly, patiently, endlessly. Infinity in numbers, it is like a song with no final note, a melody that continues softly and endlessly, echoing across time. When we look at numbers, it can be easy to forget how extraordinary they are. We write them down casually. The number of minutes in a day, the price of something at the market, the date on a calendar. But behind every small use, there is something infinite waiting. Think of the number line. Imagine it stretched before you, a simple straight line with marks evenly placed. 1, 2, 3, 4. At first it feels ordinary, something you may have seen in a school book. But pause and look at it again. That line does not stop. It extends to the right endlessly, past the horizon, past the stars, always carrying another number and another and another. And it also stretches leftward into negative numbers, going further and further into the past with no boundary. The number line is a simple drawing, yet within it lies infinity in both directions. Now, let us step into the story. Imagine an old clockmaker sitting in his workshop at night. He counts the ticks of the clock as they pass. 1, 2, 3, 4. The room is quiet, only the steady sound of gears turning. Hours pass, days pass, and still the ticks continue. No matter how long he listens, there's always another tick, another number to whisper. The clock does not stop, and neither do the numbers. This is infinity, hidden in time's rhythm. Infinity in numbers is also revealed in patterns. Think of even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8. They never stop. Think of odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7. They too go on forever. Every kind of number you can imagine has its own infinity, each one an endless thread woven into the fabric of mathematics. And yet, all of these infinities share one gentle truth. No matter how far you count, you never arrive at an ending. Infinity is not a destination. It is a journey itself. There is also something playful about infinity in numbers. Mathematicians have created puzzles to show its strangeness. One famous thought experiment is called Hilbert's Hotel. Imagine a hotel with infinitely many rooms. Even if every single room is full, a new guest can always be accommodated. How? By moving each guest one room over. The person in room 1 goes to room 2. The person in room 2 goes to room 3, and so on. Suddenly, room 1 is free in a hotel that was already full. It is a playful way to show that infinity does not behave like ordinary numbers. It bends our expectations, yet in a way that feels almost magical. Now, picture yourself inside this hotel of infinity. The hallway stretches endlessly, doors marked with numbers that climb higher and higher, with no final door. You walk slowly down the corridor, your footsteps soft, the air calm. There is no need to rush, for the hallway will always continue, no matter how far you go. Infinity is not something you must reach. It is something you can wander in gently forever. Infinity in numbers is also humbling. It reminds us of our smallness, but not in a frightening way. Instead, it reassures us that we are part of something much larger, something that does not run out. Each number is like a star, tiny by itself, but endless in its totality. And perhaps this is why infinity in numbers has been a source of wonder for centuries. Philosophers pondered it. Mathematicians explored it. Poets use it as a symbol for eternal love or eternal hope, because numbers never close their doors. They always leave room for more. So, as you rest with this thought tonight, let the infinity of numbers soothe you. Think of it as an endless staircase you can climb slowly, without hurry. Think of it as a gentle horizon that keeps opening. Think of it as a soft lullaby, repeating its notes forever. Infinity in numbers tells us that there is always another step, always another beginning, always more to discover. And in that endlessness, there is comfort, for nothing truly stops. The story of numbers continues, and so does the quiet journey of infinity. Let us now wander into the world of shapes and lines. In the stillness of geometry, there lies a gentle doorway to infinity, a line, so simple, so quiet, drawn with just a stroke of the hand, and yet hidden inside it is endlessness. Picture yourself holding a pencil. You press it softly against the page and draw a straight mark. At first, it seems small, ordinary, just a line between 2 points. But now imagine lifting your eyes and letting that line stretch beyond the paper, beyond the desk, beyond the room itself. It continues outward, without ever bending, without ever stopping, to the left, to the right, endlessly. That is the infinite line, unlike a path in the forest, which eventually meets a clearing, unlike a road in a city, which eventually ends at a building. The line in geometry does not stop. It has no beginning and no ending. It simply extends forever. Close your eyes for a moment and picture yourself standing on such a line. It is not narrow like a tightrope. Instead, it feels vast and gentle, like a pathway through the sky. You take a step forward and another, and the line carries you onward without end. The horizon ahead never grows closer. No matter how far you walk, there will always be more. Infinity woven into a single line. Mathematicians see this as one of the simplest forms of infinity. A line has no boundaries, no walls, no edge. It is not confined by the page it is drawn on. Even when you stop drawing, the line, in its pure idea, continues. There is something soothing in this. Because the infinite line is steady, predictable, it does not twist or confuse. It does not end suddenly. It simply continues. It reminds us that infinity does not always arrive in dramatic bursts. Sometimes it is quiet, patient, and straight. Now, let's turn this into a little story. Imagine you are walking through a vast desert. The sand beneath your feet is soft, the wind calm. Before you stretches a perfectly straight path, marked faintly in the sand. It continues forward mile after mile, and even as you walk, the end never appears. The path is a line into infinity. The desert around you may shift, the dunes may rise and fall, but the line remains stretching forward endless and steady. In the world of geometry, this line is a foundation. It helps define angles, shapes, distances, but at its heart, it is an eternal companion, a reminder that even the simplest idea can hold infinity within it. Some say the infinite line is like time itself. You stand in a single moment, but the line of time stretches behind you into a past without limit, and ahead of you into a future without end. Your step rests in the present, but the line itself continues forever. Others say the line is like thought. An idea sparks in your mind, it connects to another, and soon you are following a train of thought that stretches endlessly, each step leading to more. The infinite line of imagination. So as you drift in thought tonight, let the infinite line be your guide. Straight, calm, steady, stretching outward without end, inviting you to walk gently into infinity. The infinite line. It is such a simple thing, and yet, the more we think about it, the more mysterious it becomes. A line is just a set of points, arranged one after the other, perfectly straight. But the moment we say it extends forever, we are no longer talking about something ordinary. We are talking about infinity, wrapped in a shape we can draw with our hand. Imagine for a moment that you are holding a small lantern, standing on this infinite line. Around you is quiet darkness, but the line stretches on, glowing softly beneath your feet. The lantern lights a small circle around you, but beyond that circle, the line continues into the unseen distance. It doesn't stop just because you cannot see it. It is there waiting, extending endlessly. This is the beauty of the infinite line. You don't need to walk at all to know it is endless. In mathematics, a line is defined as having no beginning and no end. But we humans often like to give things limits. We draw a segment, a piece of the line, and call it manageable. Yet the line itself is always greater than the piece we see. Just as the horizon is always further than the eye can reach, the infinite line always lies beyond what we can measure. Let me tell you a quiet story. Long ago, a traveler set out across the world. He wished to follow the straightest road he could find. He walked across valleys, climbed mountains, crossed rivers. And each time he thought the road must end, he found that it continued still, straight and unbroken. Years passed, and the traveler grew older, but the road stretched on. He realized at last that he was walking not a road of earth, but a line of infinity, a path that could never finish. This is how infinity hides in the simplest shapes. We may think of circles, spirals, stars in the sky, but even the quiet line, plain and straight, carries infinity inside it. The infinite line also helps us imagine space itself. When astronomers look into the night sky, they see galaxies stretching into the distance. From our view, they seem scattered like dots, but join them in your mind one to another, and you begin to imagine the cosmic line. Stars stretched across space, linked in a path that has no end. You follow it with your gaze, and it carries you further beyond what your eyes can hold. An infinite line of light drawn across the universe. There is something calming in this idea, because when you rest tonight and close your eyes, the infinite line will still be there, not rushing, not demanding, simply extending. It does not ask you to reach the end. It only invites you to take a step and know there will always be another step and another after that. Some philosophers once said that infinity is frightening because it has no closure, but others saw a comfort in it. A line without end means possibility without limit. It means that even if you feel you have reached the edge, there's always more ahead. It whispers to us, continue, for the journey never runs out. Think of a railway track, straight and shining in the sun. When you stand upon it, the rails appear to meet in the distance, yet you know they never truly do. They run parallel, stretching on far beyond the horizon. This is the infinite line made real in the world around us. A reminder that what seems to end in the distance is, in truth, still unfolding. And now, imagine yourself lying down upon this gentle line. It is not hard or cold, but soft, like a beam of light. It carries you, cradles you as you drift. It stretches under you, to infinity in both directions. You are safe upon it, floating upon a line that will never cease. This is the infinite line as a lullaby, a path that never ends, yet never asks you to hurry. So let the infinite line guide your thoughts tonight. A straight, steady path, a quiet companion, eternal, patient, unbroken, always there, always continuing. The infinite line, silent, steady, unbroken. It is perhaps the simplest drawing we can imagine, and yet within it rests the deepest promise of infinity. We have walked upon it in thought. We have seen it in stories of travelers and in the shining rails of the world. Now, let us enter it more deeply, as if stepping into a dream. Imagine a vast white space, pure and endless. Across this emptiness runs a single, perfect line. It is so thin, so clear, that it seems almost made of light. It stretches to the left without limit, and to the right without limit. You stand gently upon it, and you feel something curious. Though it is only a line, it feels solid beneath your feet, like a road of eternity. You begin to walk. Your steps are slow, steady, unhurried. The line carries you forward. The scenery around you does not change, for this line is not about reaching a destination. It is about the journey itself, which has no end. Pause for a moment and turn around. Behind you, the line stretches back, as far as you can imagine. It feels as though every memory of your life, every step you have taken, lies somewhere upon that line behind you. And ahead, the line stretches into the future, holding all that is yet to come. The infinite line becomes not only a shape in space, but a symbol of time itself. This is what makes the line so comforting. It tells us that no single step is the final one, that even if a chapter closes, the line continues. There is always another point waiting, quietly ahead. Now, think of how artists and dreamers have used the idea of the infinite line. Poets describe it as a thread of thought, spinning endlessly. Philosophers see it as a bridge between the finite and the infinite, and mathematicians with their careful symbols, show us that the line is not bounded, not trapped, but free, eternal, limitless. Sometimes, infinity feels overwhelming, but the infinite line is gentle. It does not rush forward in spirals or explode into vast numbers. It simply extends in quiet assurance, like the steady rhythm of a heartbeat or the calm flow of breath. Let us place ourselves in another story. Imagine a child sitting with a stick in the sand by the ocean. She begins to draw a line, straight and unbroken. The tide comes in, washing over it. But when the waves retreat, she draws it again, continuing further. The ocean cannot erase her imagination, for in her mind, the line she has drawn stretches beyond the shore, across the sea, and into the stars. Her simple play holds the same truth as mathematics, that a line, once begun, need never end. And so the infinite line becomes a symbol of resilience. No matter how many times the world interrupts, the line of infinity continues. Quietly, softly, endlessly. There's also a deep beauty in the symmetry of the line, for it extends equally in both directions. Unlike a journey with a starting point, the infinite line has no first step, no origin. You can look one way and see forever. Turn the other way, and you see forever again. It surrounds you with balance, reminding you that infinity lies both behind and ahead. Now, let yourself float above this infinite line. See it from the sky, a perfect, unending stroke across the fabric of reality. It divides the endless white space into two, yet unites it at the same time. It is both simple and profound. It does nothing but exist, and in its existence, it whispers of eternity. As you rest tonight, let the infinite line be a gentle companion to your thoughts. Picture yourself lying softly upon it, like a traveler resting on a beam of light. The line will hold you, carry you, and remind you that there is no edge to fear, only continuity, only calmness, only infinity. The infinite line teaches us that even the simplest path can be eternal, that within the plainest shapes, the deepest truths of infinity reside, and that sometimes the straightest, quietest journey is also the most endless of all. When we lift our eyes to the night sky, we see more than stars, more than darkness. We see infinity, quietly waiting above us. The universe has always whispered this truth to us. Every twinkling point of light is not just a star, but a sun, some like our own, others far larger, burning with unimaginable power. And each star belongs to a galaxy, filled with billions of others. And each galaxy is part of a vast cosmic sea, stretching outward endlessly. Pause for a moment and picture it. You stand in a quiet field at night. The air is cool and the sky above is clear. You tilt your head upward, and the stars spill across the heavens like silver dust. It feels endless, doesn't it? No matter how far your eyes reach, there's always more sky, more stars, more mystery. This is the universe's way of showing us infinity. Astronomers have tried to measure the cosmos. They send telescopes into orbit, capture images of distant galaxies, and calculate distances in light years. A light year, the distance light travels in 1 year, nearly 6 trillion miles. And yet, even with such vast numbers, the universe continues beyond what we can see. There is no wall, no boundary, no final edge we can point to. Some theories suggest the universe is infinite in size. Others say it may curve upon itself, like the surface of a sphere, without edges but without end either. Whichever way it is, one thing is certain. For us, the universe is too vast to ever reach the end. Infinity lives within it, whether in its true size or in its endless unfolding. Now, let us step into a quiet story. Imagine you are traveling through space, not in a noisy rocket, but in silence, gently drifting. You pass planets, glowing softly in the starlight. You glide past stars, their warmth like distant fires. And as you move forward, the stars behind you fade, while new stars appear ahead. The journey never stops. There's always another cluster of light waiting beyond. This is infinity in the universe, an endless road made not of stone or earth but of stars. Even here on Earth, the infinite universe touches us. When we see the Milky Way stretched across the night, we are looking into our own galaxy, a river of light containing hundreds of billions of stars. But beyond it, there are countless other galaxies, each with their own suns, their own planets, perhaps their own forms of life. It is not just large, it is larger than our minds can hold. And yet, this infinity is not frightening. It is calming, because it tells us that no matter how small we feel, we belong to something that has no limits. We are threads in a tapestry that stretches forever, and that thought can bring peace, as if the universe itself is cradling us in its boundless arms. When you close your eyes tonight, imagine yourself floating upward, beyond the roof, beyond the clouds, past the atmosphere, into the quiet of space. See the earth below you, round and blue, drifting in darkness. Then let your gaze wander outward, past the moon, past the planets, past the edges of our solar system. Ahead of you stretches infinity, stars upon stars, galaxies upon galaxies, a journey with no end. This is infinity in the universe. Not just a number, not just a line, but a living, breathing reality. Everywhere you look, it continues. Everywhere you reach, there is more. And in this endlessness, there is comfort. For infinity in the universe tells us that we are never truly at the edge of existence. We are always within something greater, always part of vastness that has no end. Infinity in the universe. It is like standing beside an ocean so vast that the horizon melts into the sky. No matter how far you gaze, there is more beyond, quietly waiting. Astronomers tell us that there are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on all the beaches of Earth. Pause for a moment. Think of a single handful of sand. Thousands of tiny grains, each one small, delicate. Now imagine every beach, every desert, every stretch of shoreline across the world, and still the stars above us outnumber them. That is infinity whispering through the universe. Let us travel now in thought to a galaxy far away. You are drifting weightless in the dark. Before you spins a spiral galaxy, like a vast whirlpool of light. Its arms stretch outward, filled with billions of stars, each star perhaps with its own planet circling silently. And beyond this galaxy, there are others, countless others, like islands of light floating in an endless sea. You turn your gaze, and everywhere you look, galaxies shine. There is no end, no border, no curtain to draw. The journey always continues. Scientists use telescopes to look deeper into this endlessness. When they point them at a patch of sky that seems empty, they discover not darkness, but galaxies, thousands, millions, too many to count. A single square of sky, no larger than the tip of your finger held up at arm's length, contains more galaxies than you could imagine. And each galaxy contains billions of stars. Infinity within infinity. There is also the mystery of expansion. The universe is not still. It is growing, stretching outward like a fabric being pulled. Every galaxy drifts away from every other, as though space itself is unfolding. And the more it expands, the more there is to explore. Infinity is not just distance. It is motion without end, a journey always becoming larger. Let's pause in the story. Imagine yourself on a quiet ship, sailing across a calm sea. Behind you lies the shore, fading into memory. Ahead of you, the water stretches on, endless, shimmering under the starlight. You sail day after day, but the horizon never grows closer. This is how the universe expands. No matter how far we travel, there's always more horizon waiting. And within this infinity, there are mysteries yet unseen. Perhaps other forms of life exist, beneath suns we cannot name. Perhaps other civilizations, looking into their skies, wonder the same as we do. Infinity holds not just stars and galaxies, but possibilities, endless, uncountable. What is most soothing about this thought is that infinity in the universe does not demand to be solved. It is not a puzzle waiting for a final answer. It is a presence, vast and eternal, offering us wonder and calm. When you look up at the night sky, you are already part of it. The atoms in your body were born in stars long ago. You are not separate from infinity. You are woven into it. So, as you rest at night, imagine the stars above you as quiet lanterns stretched across a boundless sky, each one a light upon the infinite road of the universe. They do not hurry. They do not end. They simply shine, softly, endlessly. This is infinity in the universe, a gentle reminder that the journey never stops, and that you are always surrounded by endless light. Infinity in the universe. It is not just a scientific idea. It is a feeling of standing under the night sky and realizing that there is no edge to wonder. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself floating among the stars. There is no ground beneath you, no roof above you, only space, vast and quiet, stretching in every direction. The stars do not rush. They do not crowd. They are scattered like gentle lanterns in an endless night. You drift weightless, and everywhere you look, there is more. No walls, no endings, only infinity. The universe has a way of comforting us through its vastness. On Earth, so much feels limited. Days end, seasons pass, lives change. But above us, the universe stretches on, unchanged by our small boundaries. It reminds us that while we live within time, we also belong to something timeless. We are part of infinity itself. Astronomers sometimes speak of the cosmic horizon, the farthest distance we can see. Beyond it, light has not yet had time to reach us. But just because we cannot see it does not mean it isn't there. Like a hidden dream, the universe continues beyond our vision, and so infinity surrounds us, both visible and unseen. Let us enter a story. Imagine a traveler standing on a mountaintop at night. The sky above is filled with stars. He wonders how many there are, so he begins to count one by one. But no matter how far he goes, the stars continue. Soon he realizes that he is not meant to finish the count. He is meant only to marvel, to accept that the number of stars is beyond him, and that this endlessness is beautiful. Infinity is not a task complete, but a presence to rest within. There is also infinity in the smallest corners of the universe. Look at a single patch of sky through a telescope, and you will see not one star, but thousands of galaxies. Each galaxy holds billions of stars, and each star may hold worlds of its own. Infinity is not only about size. It is about abundance, richness, and possibility without end. Now think of this. The atoms in your body, in your hands, your breath, your heartbeat, were once part of ancient stars. Long ago, those stars lived, burned, and scattered their elements into space. From that stardust, Earth was born, and from Earth we were born. You are not separate from the infinite universe. You are made of it. You carry its endlessness within you. This thought is deeply soothing, because it means that infinity is not only out there, beyond the stars. It is here within you, in every particle, in every breath. You belong to infinity. And perhaps that is why the universe feels like a lullaby when we look at it. Its silence is not empty, but full of gentle promise. Its infinity does not overwhelm, but comforts. It tells us quietly that no matter what happens in our small days and nights, we are part of something that has no ending. So tonight, let your thoughts drift like a ship sailing into the cosmos. Each star is a beacon, guiding you further. Each galaxy is a resting place along the way. And yet, the journey never ends, for there is always more beyond. Infinity in the universe is not a destination. It is a gentle road, eternal and boundless. As you rest, remember this: the same infinity that stretches above you also flows within you. The stars, the galaxies, the endless night, they are not separate. They are part of the same story, the story of infinity. And in that story, you are a quiet, shining chapter. Infinity often feels vast, like endless galaxies, or numbers climbing forever. But there is another kind of infinity, quiet and delicate, the infinity hidden in small things, the infinities we can hold in our hands, or notice in everyday life. Imagine a single drop of water. At first, it seems tiny, fragile, but within that drop are countless molecules, and within each molecule, countless atoms, and within each atom, smaller and smaller particles, reaching deeper and deeper into unseen worlds. No matter how small you look, there is always more detail waiting. A drop of water holds a universe of its own. Mathematicians remind us of small infinities with a simple idea. Between any two numbers, no matter how close, there are infinitely many others. Between 1 and 2 lies 1.5. Between 1 and 1.5 lies 1.25. Between 1 and 1.25 lies 1.125. And this continues forever. No matter how closely you look, you can always divide the space again. Infinity, hidden in the smallest interval. Let's imagine a gentle scene. You are sitting in a quiet garden, watching a butterfly flutter. It lands on a flower, its wings delicate and bright. You notice the patterns on its wings, tiny dots and lines, each one leading to finer details. The more closely you look, the more you see. The design seems endless, a small infinity painted in colors and light. Small infinities are not about size, but about depth. They remind us that infinity is not only above us in the stars, but also beneath us in the smallest grains of existence. Think of music. A single note, when struck, contains infinite variations in tone, echo, and vibration. The sound fades, but within that fading are countless tiny changes, never repeating exactly the same way twice. Infinity within a single sound. Or think of a line on paper. Draw it, then zoom closer and closer. What seemed smooth now reveals texture, fibers of the paper, ink spreading in tiny rivers. Each detail divides into more details and more still. A small infinity hidden in the quiet stroke of your hand. There is also infinity in thought. One idea sparks another, and soon, from a single word or memory, you are carried into endless associations. From one moment, infinite stories can unfold. And perhaps the most calming part of small infinities is this: they bring infinity close to us. We do not need to cross galaxies to touch it. We can find in a pebble a sound, a thought, a breath. Everywhere, infinity is waiting, not only in the vast, but in the small. So tonight, as you rest, imagine yourself holding a tiny shell in your hand. It seems simple at first, but as you gaze, you notice spirals, patterns, and ridges. Each curve reveals more detail the longer you look. It is infinity, quietly present, hidden in something you can hold between your fingers. This is the beauty of small infinities. They remind us that infinity is not far away. It lives close in the smallest places, always unfolding, always waiting to be discovered. When we think of infinity, we often picture something far away, unreachable. But the truth is infinity can be found in the smallest, quietest places. Sometimes, infinity is not about vastness, but about detail. Imagine a handful of sand. At first glance, it is simple, just grains resting together. But pick up a single grain, hold it against the light. It is shaped, worn, colored, each one different from the others. And if you place it under a microscope, you will see textures and patterns so intricate, they feel endless. Now remember, there are billions of grains on a single beach, and countless beaches across the world. Infinity, waiting inside the tiny unnoticed places. Mathematics gives us another way to see small infinities. Take a circle. It seems smooth and simple, but the distance around it, its circumference, can be described using the number pi. And pi is infinite. Its digits go on forever, never repeating, never ending. So hidden inside something as familiar as a circle is infinity itself. Every wheel that turns, every ripple of water, every ring of a tree carries a secret infinity with it. Let's walk into a gentle story. A child sits under a tree, looking at its leaves. She notices that one leaf has tiny veins, like rivers spreading outward. She traces them with her finger and sees that each small vein divides into even smaller lines. The more she looks, the more detail she finds. The pattern seems never to stop. The leaf, so small in her hand, holds an endless design. This is the magic of small infinities. They hide in plain sight. Nature is full of such examples. Look at a fern. Its fronds divide into smaller fronds, which divide again into smaller shapes, repeating over and over. This is called a fractal, a pattern that continues endlessly, no matter how closely you look. Snowflakes, river paths, clouds, and coastlines all hold these repeating infinities. The world is woven with endlessness, even in its smallest corners. There is also a small infinity in time. Think of a single second. It feels brief, almost nothing. But within that second, light can travel 300,000 kilometers. Within that second, countless thoughts, reactions, and events take place. If we divided that single second again and again, we would never reach a final, indivisible moment. Every instant contains an infinity of smaller instants. This thought can be soothing because it tells us every moment of life is deeper than it seems. A single breath, a single smile, a single memory, all hold endless richness within them. Infinity does not require eternity. It can be found here, now, in the smallest part of a moment. Let us think of words. From just 26 letters in the English alphabet, we can create infinite stories, poems, and ideas. Those letters are limited, but the possibilities they hold are endless. Even a single word like dream carries infinite meanings, depending on who speaks it and who hears it. A small infinity, living in language itself. And perhaps the most delicate of small infinities is love. Think of how many times a simple gesture, like a touch of a hand or a kind word, can ripple outward. One kindness can lead to another and another, spreading endlessly through people's lives. From something small, infinite echoes can grow. So tonight, as you rest, imagine yourself holding a seashell close to your ear. You listen, and you hear the sound of the ocean, soft and endless. But that sound is not really the sea. It is a whisper of air moving to the shell, repeating in countless patterns. Infinity, hidden inside something you can hold against your cheek. Small infinities teach us something gentle, that we do not need to seek infinity in distant stars. It is here already, in grains of sand, in leaves, in time, in thought, in love. Everywhere we look closely, infinity appears. It has always been with us, in ways both vast and small. Small infinities. They are subtle, quiet, and often unnoticed, yet they carry the same endlessness as the stars or the universe. They remind us that infinity is not always vast and far away. Sometimes it rests gently in the smallest details, waiting to be discovered. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a garden in the early morning. Dewdrops cling to petals, shimmering like tiny lanterns. You look closer. Each droplet holds a reflection of the world around it. Trees, sky, and sun appear folded into that single droplet. Within it, there is a universe. Infinity, captured in a delicate drop of water. Now imagine a single breath. You inhale, filling your lungs with air. Inside that breath, millions of molecules move, each one following its own path, vibrating, colliding, flowing. Within that simple act of breathing, infinity unfolds. The breath is small, yet limitless in its intricacy. Small infinities are also present in our minds. Think of a memory, a childhood afternoon, or a quiet smile. When you recall it, new details emerge, a color, a sound, a feeling. And each recollection can be remembered differently the next time. There is no end to the depth of your own inner world. Infinity resides in your thoughts, waiting to be explored. Imagine a tiny crystal. It seems ordinary at first, but under gentle light, you see endless facets, reflections, patterns that repeat and reflect again. Each turn of the crystal reveals new shapes, new beauty. Infinity lives in its silent geometry. Even a single word, spoken softly, can carry endless meaning. Think of the word peace. It can be a comfort, a prayer, a thought, a lullaby. It may touch one person differently than another, and its meaning can unfold over time, growing quietly, endlessly. Let us enter another story. A child is lying on a quiet hill, watching clouds drift across the sky. Each cloud seems simple, yet within it, shapes shift, patterns form, and new visions appear. She notices details she never saw before, a hint of color, a shadow, a fold of air. The small clouds hold infinite stories for her eyes and mind. Infinity does not need vast distances to exist. It can be gentle, personal, intimate. There's also a small infinity in love. A kind gesture, a soft word, a gentle touch. These actions ripple outward. Touching lives in ways we cannot fully see. A single moment of care can inspire countless others. From one small seed, endless growth may occur. This is infinity in its most comforting form. Quiet, tender, nurturing. So tonight, as you rest, let yourself be surrounded by small infinities. Notice them in your breath, in the spaces between sounds, in the details of a pillow, a blanket, or the night sky above. They are waiting, always present, quietly infinite. Small infinities teach us patience and wonder. They remind us that infinity is not only in the unreachable or extraordinary, it is in the touch of life itself, in every moment, every detail, every gentle observation. And in that awareness, there is peace, a soft, comforting truth. The endless is not just out there, it is here, within, around, and part of you. And as you drift into sleep tonight, let the small infinities carry you. Let them remind you that even in quiet, simple moments, there is richness beyond measure. Every leaf, every breath, every thought a universe of its own. And in that gentle realization, you can rest. Softly, calmly, infinitely. Infinity is not only a mathematical or scientific idea. It is also a question that has lived in human minds for millennia. Philosophers have looked at infinity not as numbers or galaxies, but as a concept that touches the soul, something that stretches beyond understanding, something that whispers quietly to those who wonder. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine sitting in a quiet study, a candle flickering softly beside you. The walls are lined with books, ancient books, filled with thoughts of thinkers who ponder the endless. Plato, Aristotle, Zeno, they ask questions that still echo today. What is infinite? Can the human mind truly comprehend it? Is infinity something outside of us, or is it inside, waiting to be discovered in thought? Zeno of Elea, long ago, gave us a story, a paradox. Imagine a runner trying to reach the finish line. First, he must reach the halfway point, then the halfway of the remaining distance, and again, no matter how many steps he takes. There are always infinitely more points to reach. The journey never truly ends. It is a simple illustration, yet it shakes the mind. Infinity here is not a number or a line. It is a concept that challenges perception itself. Philosophers have also asked whether infinity is something real or only imagined. Does it exist out there in the universe? Or is it a creation of our minds, a reflection of the human desire to understand what has no bounds? These are gentle questions, not to be answered with urgency, but be felt slowly, thoughtfully, softly. Consider the concept of time. Some thinkers have suggested that time itself may be infinite, stretching backward into the past, forward into the future, without beginning or end. Others imagine time as cyclical, looping endlessly in a rhythm we cannot fully grasp. Infinity in time is not just mathematics. It is philosophy, reflection, meditation. And then there is the infinity of the mind. Your thoughts can travel farther than the stars. You can imagine worlds, people, and experiences that do not exist anywhere but in your consciousness. Within your mind, infinity unfolds naturally, quietly, without effort. Philosophers often see this as proof that infinity is not only external, it is internal, a mirror of human creativity. Let's enter a soft story. Imagine a monk sitting beside a quiet river. He watches the water flow endlessly. He does not measure it, name it, or chase it. He simply observes. The river's flow becomes a meditation on infinity itself. There is no beginning. There is no end, only movement, gentle and eternal. Infinity here is a living, breathing experience. Philosophy teaches us that infinity is not frightening. It is comforting, because it reminds us that the world and our minds are larger than we realize, that even our smallest thoughts, our quietest moments, are part of a bigger picture. Infinity is a gentle, persistent question. It is a mystery that has no final answer, and perhaps that is its beauty. It invites us to reflect, not to solve, to wonder, not to finish, to drift quietly along the edges of understanding. Philosophers often spoke of the infinite in relation to existence itself. Is the universe finite or endless? Is our life just a moment or part of a cycle that stretches forever? These questions are not meant to be hurried. They are meant to be felt like a soft breeze brushing across your mind, inviting contemplation gently without pressure. Consider the concept of the infinite within the finite. Even a single moment, a single life, contains echoes of infinity. A heartbeat, a thought, a memory. Each contains countless possibilities, unfolding silently, endlessly. In this way, the finite and the infinite coexist. The universe is vast, yet each tiny corner of it contains infinity. Now, let's imagine a quiet evening in a library. The shelves are filled with books, each one holding ideas that stretch beyond the mind. A single paragraph may lead to a thought. A thought may lead to reflection. And soon, without effort, the mind drifts through infinite connections. Philosophy is much like this, a gentle journey along an unending path. Zeno's paradoxes remind us that infinity is not only about space or time, but about perception. The arrow flying through the air, the steps a runner takes. Every motion can be divided endlessly in thought. Infinity challenges how we see the world, and in doing so, opens our minds to gentle wonder. There's also the idea of infinity in ethics and love. A single act of kindness, repeated in thought or memory, can inspire countless others. Even when small, its effect echoes infinitely. Philosophers see this as another form of infinity, not in numbers, but in meaning, in impact, in presence. Let us step into a soft story. A painter sits in a sunlit studio, watching dust motes float in the air. With every brushstroke, she creates patterns, textures, shades. Each small detail contains endless possibilities for interpretation, emotion, and connection. In the finite act of painting, the infinite emerges quietly. Infinity here is not counted or measured, it is experienced. The beauty of philosophical infinity is that it is calming, not intimidating. It tells us that there is always more to explore, more to wonder at, more to understand, not with urgency, but with curiosity and peace. Infinity becomes companion to thought, a quiet friend in reflection. Even in meditation, we encounter infinity. Sit quietly, watch your breath, feel your heartbeat. The inhale, the exhale, each moment flows into the next endlessly. Infinity is not only in numbers or stars. It is in your awareness, in your consciousness, in the gentle unfolding of experience. Philosophy reminds us that infinity is everywhere, in time, in thought, in existence itself. It is not a destination to reach. It is a journey to inhabit softly, patiently, gently, a path that never ends, yet never demands speed. Infinity is a quiet teacher. It does not shout, it does not demand. It whispers softly to those who pause, those who reflect, those who notice the small and the large alike. Imagine sitting beside a still lake at dusk. The water mirrors the sky above, endless in its reflection. You look at the horizon, where sky and water seem to meet. Yet, no matter how long you watch, the horizon does not end. Infinity exists in the simple act of seeing, in the gentle awareness of what is, without needing to grasp or control. Philosophers often speak of infinity as a bridge between the known and the unknown. It reminds us that the universe, the mind, and existence itself are larger than any single measure or thought. Infinity invites curiosity, patience, wonder. It is not something to conquer, but something to inhabit gently, like a soft cloak draped over our understanding. Consider time again. Some philosophers see time as infinite, flowing endlessly past and into the future. Others see it as cyclical, looping quietly, returning again and again. Both ways, time carries infinity, not as a threat, but as a comfort. It reassures us that life, thought, and the universe continue beyond the small boundaries we perceive. Let us enter a story, soft and gentle. A traveler walks through a quiet forest at dawn. The mist hangs low, wrapping the trees in silence. He notices the patterns in the leaves, the delicate ripples in the stream, the subtle colors in the sky. He realizes that every detail, no matter how small, carries infinite depth. Infinity is not only in the vast stars above. It is here, woven into every moment, every form, every experience. Even in our minds, infinity exists. A single thought can unfold into countless reflections. A memory can ripple into imagination, dreams, and insight. The mind itself is infinite, quietly, endlessly, beautifully. Philosophy teaches us that infinity is not something to fear. It is not an emptiness that overwhelms. It is a presence that reassures. It tells us that our lives, though finite, are connected to something boundless. Our thoughts, actions, and awareness are threads in the fabric of the infinite. Let's imagine a candle burning softly. Its flame flickers, casting gentle shadows on the wall. And yet, the light reaches farther than the eye can see, illuminating tiny corners, stretching outward in ways we cannot measure. This is like infinity in philosophy, subtle, gentle, everywhere, reaching beyond our understanding, yet comforting and familiar. As you rest tonight, allow the ideas of infinity to settle softly in your mind. You do not need to solve them. You do not need to measure them. Simply breathe, reflect, and feel the gentle presence of endlessness surrounding you. Philosophers remind us that infinity is both a question and an answer. It is a journey without end, a companion in thought, a gentle reminder that even within our finite lives, there is something eternal, something vast, something calming. So tonight, as your thoughts drift softly into sleep, remember that infinity is not only out there in numbers or stars, but also within you, in your mind, your breath, your awareness, and your reflection. Infinity quietly unfolds, endlessly beautifully. And in this gentle understanding, you can rest. Calmly, peacefully, infinitely. Infinity, can it be gentle? Can it soothe, like a soft blanket around the mind? Tonight, we explore this idea, that infinity is not only vast, mysterious, or beyond our reach. It can be comforting, tender, and close to the heart. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a quiet room, dimly lit by the soft glow of a candle. Outside, the night stretches endlessly, calm and still. Within this quiet, you realize that infinity is not frightening. It is not a number or a distance that must be conquered. It is a gentle presence, surrounding you like a soft lullaby for your mind. Think of the stars overhead. They are countless, scattered across the sky, and yet they do not overwhelm. They shine quietly, gently, endlessly. Philosophers and poets have long said that infinity is a mirror of our own consciousness. Within our minds, our thoughts, memories, and dreams stretch endlessly. And in that infinity, there is comfort, because it tells us there's always more possibilities, more gentle moments, more quiet beauty. Even the night itself embodies infinity as comfort. Let your mind drift softly to this idea. Infinity is not a problem to solve. It is a friend to accompany you as you rest. A quiet, unending presence embracing you silently and tenderly. Infinity, in its quiet ways, is everywhere. It is in the gentle rise and fall of your chest as you breathe, in the soft rhythm of your heartbeat, in the calm stretch of night, where stars glimmer endlessly. Each of these small movements carries the quiet whisper of infinity, a reminder that even in stillness, there is endlessness, and endlessness can be gentle. Imagine walking through a quiet forest at dusk. The trees stand tall, their branches reaching upward, seemingly forever. A soft breeze moves through the leaves, creating whispers of sound that travel in patterns, endless and delicate. You notice how the light filters through the canopy, shifting slowly as the sun sets. Each moment is unique, yet part of a continuous flow, a small infinity, right here, around you, within the natural rhythm of the world. Let's imagine a gentle story. A child is sitting beside a pond, watching ripples expand outward. They throw a small stone and watch the rings form. Each ripple travels outward, overlapping, blending, and fading. But the water continues to move, carrying new ripples endlessly. The child realizes that the water's motion has no beginning or end. It is infinite, quiet, and soft, a comforting lesson in the gentle persistence of life. Even within music, infinity can be found as a calming presence. A single note on a piano, held softly, the vibrations echo, fading slowly, yet subtly changing each time they resonate. A melody carries on, flowing endlessly in memory, in thought, in imagination. Infinity is not overwhelming here. It is tender, a lullaby for the mind. Think of the sky at twilight. The colors shift slowly, from warm orange to deep purple, to the soft black of night. Stars begin to appear, faint at first, then glowing brighter. You can watch quietly as the sky unfolds. And though the universe is vast, it feels like it is embracing you. Infinity becomes not a void, but a soft, familiar companion. Philosophers have often suggested that infinity can bring peace because it dissolves the pressure of limits. We worry about endings, deadlines, boundaries. But infinity reminds us that there is always more space, more time, more possibility. It allows the mind to rest gently, without rushing. Consider the waves of the ocean. One wave crashes, another rises. They follow each other endlessly, with a rhythm both predictable and unique. Even if we watch for hours, the sequence never truly ends. The ocean carries infinity in a way that is soft, steady, and reassuring, like a gentle heartbeat of the earth itself. Even within your own life, infinity can be a comfort. Every thought you have, every dream, every memory, they ripple outward in ways you cannot fully see. One quiet moment of reflection can lead to another endlessly. And the more we allow ourselves to notice, the more the quiet infinity of life becomes a soft, calming presence. Tonight, let your mind rest in these gentle truths. Infinity is not only out there in the stars, the oceans, or numbers. It is here, surrounding you, within your breath, within your heartbeat, within the soft unfolding of a night. Infinity can be tender, gentle, and deeply reassuring. Infinity can be a quiet friend. It does not demand, it does not rush. It simply exists, surrounding us, embracing us, gently reminding us of the endless possibilities of calm, thought, and rest. Imagine lying in your bed tonight, the covers soft around you, your body warm, your mind slowing. Outside, the night stretches softly, holding the stars, the moon, and a quiet breeze. You feel the infinite rhythm of the world in the sway of trees, and the hum of distant life, in the soft, endless flow of time. This is infinity as comfort, present, gentle, and endlessly reassuring. Let us drift into a soft story. A person walks slowly along a quiet beach at midnight. The waves lap gently at the shore, the sand cool beneath their feet. Each wave is different, yet the pattern continues. endlessly softly, with a rhythm that is both infinite and comforting. The traveler breathes in and realizes that the vastness of the ocean, the endless sky, and the quiet of the night do not overwhelm. They soothe. Infinity here is a lullaby for soul. Even within our own hearts and minds, infinity can bring calm. Every thought, every memory, every breath, they flow into each other, endlessly, quietly, beautifully. There is no need to count, to measure, to hurry. Infinity reminds us to simply rest, to feel the presence of life unfolding endlessly around and within us. Imagine looking up at the night sky once more. The stars twinkle softly, distant suns glowing across unimaginable distances. Yet their light reaches you, here and now. It travels to the vast expanse, carrying calm, quiet, infinite presence. You are part of this gentle infinity, and in that realization, you can rest completely. Philosophers and poets often suggest that infinity teaches patience, wonder, and peace. It shows us that life does not need to be rushed. There's always more room to breathe, more space to imagine, more moments to rest. Even a single star, a single wave, a single breath contains a gentle eternity. So tonight, as you close your eyes, let yourself drift into the quiet comfort of infinity. Let each thought, each heartbeat, each breath carry you softly into a world where there are no endings, only gentle, endless unfolding, where time, space, and life flow in a calm, infinite rhythm, wrapping you in warmth, peace, and the soft embrace of the universe itself. And now, as your mind settles and your body relaxes, I wish you gentle dreams, filled with the soft glow of infinite stars, the quiet of endless oceans, and the tender comfort of limitless possibilities. Good night and goodbye.